Hi everyone, and welcome to today's program. Authenticity is your strength. I'm your host, Shrikar. I would like to welcome and introduce our presenter, Mr. Dragoslav Obradovic. During his life, he was struggling with finding his purpose. He was doubting his own skills. He held wrong and limiting beliefs about himself and the world around him, which made him start studying something he didn't like. He spent 3 years studying hospitality, wondering if that was the right path for him, wondering if he could do better. After many years of feeling empty and purposeless, he finally decided to start following his passion, art. He then realized that he was so much more creative than he thought himself to be, and that he could grow and learn so much simply by practice. He committed himself to awakening his full potential, and according to him, he is living his dream life. Thank you so much, Mr. Obradovic, for hosting this session with us.
Hi, thank you so much for introducing me, Mr. Shrikar. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to share my experiences and my insights on this topic on the EBC Teens platform. I'm an architecture student in Belgrade, Serbia. I am very passionate about what I do, but it hasn't always been that way. So I'm gonna share a quick story about my journey to finding my passion and my purpose and what I've learned through this journey. So hopefully my story will inspire some of you. My experience, my story is going to be based on the concept of the Ikigai. Ikigai is a philosophy which translates as a reason for being or a life's purpose. Ikigai has 4 directions. These are do what you love, do what you're good at, do what the world needs, and do what you can be paid for. Now, what makes an Ikigai a great philosophy is that it is action. It is a verb. To create, to delight, to nourish, to provide, to create, to serve, to connect, to teach, to build, to heal. Ikigai means spending your time the way you want to spend your time, plus you're doing something meaningful for the planet, and plus you're getting paid for it. Your meaningful life, your happy and fulfilling life is not in the future. It's not a destination you need to get to. It's something that you can enjoy in this very moment at any time you want. I'm going to break this story down into 5 segments, 5 parts. So the first part is the what, right? What is it that you want to do? Now don't think about this in terms of what exactly your job is going to be, rather think about your interests. So what is it that you enjoy doing in your free time? What sparks your soul? What makes you feel alive? It's much better to think about your interests and work on improving your skills, and then later you can figure out how you're going to monetize your skills. A good example is Bruce Lee. His main interests were philosophy and mixed martial arts, so he combined the two into something that is valuable, something that people like, and these are movies, so he became an actor. Now something like this takes time, it takes dedication, it takes a little bit of introspection, asking yourself, is this really what I want? Or is it something that is expected of me to want, or is it something that my parents want? Or maybe you would be good at something you don't even know you like. For example, in elementary school I hated physics. I was not good at it, I was not interested in it. I thought it was the most boring subject ever. And many years later, as I became more interested in science, and I always loved watching documentaries about the universe, and I was fascinated by the fact how we can all be described and measured with math and physics. So I started loving physics. And the reason I thought I hated physics is because the first day of our physics class, I don't remember much, but I remember a book with a lot of boring definitions, a lot of confusing formulas, and I was automatically repelled. A problem is that our teacher, she didn't know how to present the subject in a fun and interesting way, so if she knew how to do that, maybe I would be a physicist today, who knows. Now it's important to be sure that what you want is what you really need, or what your soul needs, or is it just something that your ego desires? And there's a big difference. The ego wants money, it wants status, control, power, it wants to be seen as special, it wants to be seen as better than others, which also leads to the feeling of being separate from the world. On the other hand, the soul wants unity, friendship, connection, kindness, wisdom. At Yale University, Professor Laurie Santos teaches a course that is called The Science of Well-Being, in which she explains that we have this dogmatic approach, that we automatically know what is good and what is bad for us. And she also explains that we are very bad at figuring out what it is that will make us happy. So things like money, status and good looks, they have no impact on your base level of happiness. And what does have an impact are things like kindness, meditation, spending your time the way you want to spend your time, and of course spending time with friends and family. So to summarize, it is important that we discover what we truly want without deceiving ourselves, and to do that it helps that we stop identifying ourselves with the ego mind and start living more from the soul. So now that you know what your skills are and what your interests are, it is time to contemplate the question of how your skills and interests can benefit the world. And not just the world and other people, but it will also benefit you, because knowing that you're doing something meaningful and valuable, it's just a great feeling. And since we're all connected, a service to others is service to self, which leads us to the second part, and that is purpose. So in my case, I finally decided what I wanted to do. I wanted to start studying architecture. I finally knew where my career is going, but I was not 100% happy and satisfied, because something was missing. I didn't know what that was at the time. I wasn't even aware that I was missing something. I just felt kind of off, and I knew that there are some pieces of the puzzle that need to be found and put together. And I started thinking, okay, so I'm going to design nice buildings, and then what? What is my purpose? Is my work going to be valuable, or am I just creating aesthetically pleasing objects? I couldn't find any deeper reason to go with it, and that is when I started to get more into spirituality. I'm not going to go into details about my spiritual journey, but these philosophies, these Eastern philosophies, taught me a lot about myself. They made me more aware of who I am at the deepest level. I started seeing things more clearly. They taught me how to manage and work through my emotions more efficiently. I started experiencing reality without my ego being involved, and I just understood that I was not separate from anything. I was one with nature, I was one with people around me, I was one with the tree in my yard, I was one with the universe. And these new realizations and new levels of understanding opened my eyes, and I was presented with a wide range of possibilities. Suddenly everything was possible. I also learned about the law of attraction and how it works, how you can create your own reality, and I realized that I can do so much. I can do whatever I put my mind to. I just needed to keep educating both my heart and my mind. And the greatest thing I realized is this connection between me and all beings. This made me want to help more, to do more, to create more. It gave me a completely new and upgraded outlook on life. I saw a lot of problems in the world, and since I'm a part of it, I thought, well, maybe I can do something to make it a better place. It doesn't have to be something big, just start small. So I started thinking about how I can add up to the world. Maybe I could address certain issues through art. I could create sculptures, even if I don't know how to yet. I'll learn. I can create illustrations, I can write stories, I can use different mediums and ways to help raise awareness on certain issues. Or I can create spaces that encourage genuine interaction among people, or spaces that have psychological benefits to humans' well-being. I'm thinking about transforming the world through architecture. I want people to feel excited about the world they live in and to thrive, and not just survive and live from one day to another. I want people to live and to experience life with their entire being. Possibilities are endless once you know your goal, and once you realize that you can do so much if you just believe in yourself and if you set intention that you are going to do it. I also started writing a diary about 2 years ago. This helped me a lot about getting to know myself. I'm just writing down my emotions, my thoughts, observations, ideas, whatever comes to mind, whatever I feel is useful. I try to analyze myself and the world around me So this helped me a lot in many aspects of my life, and I highly recommend you try it. You don't have to possess some fancy writing skills, you just write down whatever you feel is useful for you at the moment. Vincent van Gogh said that a good painting is an equivalent to a good deed, and that's true. Whatever you say, whatever you do, whatever you create that evokes any positive feeling in another person is a good deed, and that's a good karma too. Now, a problem that occurs with many people, myself included, are different kinds of blockages, different things that are stopping us from achieving our goals. Now, they're telling us that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve it, that we can never be as good as someone who is more talented or more skilled than us. There are also the fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, fear of disappointing our parents, our friends, ourselves, fear of the embarrassment, what if I try and I fail, how will others judge me for that? These are all psychological issues, these are all ideas and beliefs that are not rational, and they are created by the conditioned mind, and they can be overcome. There is also a problem concerning money, pressure from society that you must do things a certain way or you're just no good. So I'm gonna try and approach every one of these obstacles and make it clearer on how you can manage to grow through them. Now all these limiting beliefs are rooted deeply in the subconscious mind, and so it's important to learn how to deconstruct the mind and see where these ideas might be coming from. And once you establish the root cause, you can now begin to transcend this belief of I can't do it. If you're saying something is not possible, you are also saying energetically that I don't want it. So on one level you are creating a desire of wanting something, but on another level you are saying I don't want it. As Sadhguru said, what is possible and what is not possible, that's not our business, that is in nature's business. Our business is to strive for what we want. Most of us are using our past experiences as a basis for deciding whether something is possible or not possible. In other words, we have decided that what has not happened until now can never happen in the future. And this is a disgrace for humanity and for human spirit, because what has not happened on this earth till today can't happen tomorrow. Human beings are capable of making it happen tomorrow. So believing yourself is very important. Believing in miracles is very important. First I want to talk about the feeling of not being good enough, because this is something I've dealt a lot with in past. When I was a kid, I spent a lot of time with my brother, who is a graphic designer. He also creates music and does all sorts of cool stuff, and he is actually the reason that I wanted to become an artist in the first place. So what happened is that he was a very good painter at a young age. His paintings when he was 14 were amazing, and I was not that good. I mean, I could draw some stuff. I was told by other people that I was talented, but I couldn't draw anything from my imagination. If I tried to, it would look terrible. I always had to use a reference, and so I've convinced myself that I'm just not good enough, that I'm not talented. And I had this flawed belief for such a long time that I completely forgot that I was into art at all, and I just gave up on being an artist. And so one day I saw this picture on Instagram. Someone posted a picture of two drawings, like a progress from I think 2 years apart, and the old drawing was very bad. It was worse than what I could do at the time, and the new picture, the improved one, was very good. It was very realistic and very skilled. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe I can learn how to draw, maybe I can practice, maybe there is no such thing as talent. So I started practicing and I improved. So long story short, I realized that those who we call talented are often people who just started doing something at a very young age. They started earlier and they worked on it a lot. So in my brother's case, let's say he started drawing when he was 7, and until he was 14, that's 7 years of drawing, that's 7 years of practice, and of course he's gonna be good. And I didn't even practice that much. I drew maybe 5 or 6 drawings per month, where he probably did 20 drawings a day. So there's a big difference. He just drew a lot more and he got better at it. And the reason I couldn't draw from imagination is because I haven't been practicing enough. My brother was drawing a lot, so in time he did a lot of studies, and so he started picking up how things work in space, how things look like, and he built himself a visual library. So practice makes perfect. As Bob Ross said, talent is just a pursued passion. You can learn any skill you want, not just drawing. And it's the same with language, right? When you start learning a new language, it's very hard at the beginning. It's very analytical. You have to think about something before you say, and in time, with practice, you become natural, you become fluent. You don't have to think about it, you just speak. So it becomes a muscle memory. You are much more capable of doing stuff than you are aware. The second flawed belief I want to talk about is that I don't deserve it, it's just too good to be true. This only applies to someone else. I can't possibly do that or live this life or have this or do this job. You can, and the sole belief that you can't is creating a resistance, is blocking you. It is putting you into a box of your own ignorance. Where you are now has nothing to do with where you can be. So you can be anywhere and doing anything. You just have to find a way and be persistent and also be patient. A French philosopher, Jean-Paul Sartre, talks about this phenomena, refers to it as bad faith. It's a phenomenon in which human beings adopt false values and ideas about themselves and disown their innate freedom, hence living and acting inauthentically. Sartre, he describes a waiter, someone who is a little bit too much devoted to his role, as he was primarily a waiter and not a free human being who could be a poet or an actor. He tells himself that he has no other choice, that he needs money, that it's his destiny, and this is just not true. We are all free. We are all free to reinvent ourselves. You can leave your old job and go live in the woods. You can find a new hobby. So let's say you work from 9 to 5. You have a job that you're not passionate about, but you need to pay for the bills, you need to pay for food. And when you get home from that job, what you do with that time is very important. So when we get home from that job, we don't play video games, we don't watch movies, we don't waste our time doing irrelevant things. We work on our hobbies, we work on improving our skills, so eventually this will open up the opportunity for us to be able to transfer this hobby into a full-time job. Now when it comes to the fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, don't set expectations, just enjoy the process. So do one thing at a time, and even if you fail, you get up and you start again. What's important is that you're trying and that you're having fun. Don't quit before you even started. So learn to deal with your fears, because everything you ever wanted is on the other side of your fears. So try stepping out of your comfort zone every day for a little bit. The last thing I wanted to mention is societal pressure. You have to finish high school, you have to go to college. After high school, you have to get a job. After college, you have to start a family. You have to do this and that. And guess what? You don't have to. You don't have to live by anyone's expectations. We are not robots. We are free human beings. And life is not a test that you need to pass, but an experience to be lived. So find out what works for you and do what you love. All this pressure that you must do things a certain way or in a certain time frame, it leaves no space for free thinking and leaves no time to actually figure stuff out. Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? And with today's school systems, where the main focus is not about encouraging children's creativity and authenticity, but it's more about creating robots and people who are smart enough to do the job but not smart enough to question why they do it. So it gets challenging to find yourself, but it's not impossible. Listen to your heart and not the external world. So the fourth part is your grades don't matter. How well you did in elementary school and how well you did in high school, that's not important. Your grades do not represent your intellect, your creativity, or your capacity for success. They simply represent how well you are able to memorize and repeat what you read in a book. I was terrible in high school, and with each year I was getting worse. I was about to be expelled a couple of times for my behavior and my rebellious attitude. At the end of the last year, I had the worst grades in my entire class. But I wasn't stupid, I was just not interested in following orders. And now when I do what I actually care about, I'm doing great. So the last part, and probably the most important one, is that you are unique. Do not compare yourself to anyone. Everyone has their own purpose, everyone has their own reasons for existing, and the only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. Don't be discouraged if you're not good at something, because you can always improve, or if someone is better than you at something. So let's say you want to learn how to draw, you never drew before, and then you see someone who is about your age or maybe even younger, who is much more skilled than you are. So a natural, instinctual reaction to this will probably be, well, they are just better than me, it's too late for me to start, why would I even bother? I've met so many people thinking this way, and it's such a destructive mindset, because why would you deny yourself a pleasure of drawing simply because someone somewhere is better than you at it? You are not drawing for them, you're drawing for yourself, and that's important to remember. When you see someone who is better than you, don't envy them, don't be discouraged, but try to learn from them, be inspired by them. And as you evolve, maybe you will pick up things that they missed, so this will give you an advantage. Or since we're all unique, maybe you will find a completely new way of expressing your ideas, or you can create your own original style. So you never know until you try. And still, even if you don't succeed, so let's say you don't succeed, that's fine too, because you got to enjoy the process. You did what you love, so there is nothing to regret. You can only regret not trying. Now, my story was about creating art, but this can apply to pretty much anything, whatever it is that you want to do, that you're passionate about. So just stay curious, learn, explore, try out new things, and most importantly, believe in yourself. Tell yourself every day that you can do it and that you are doing it. And always remember that authenticity is your strength. Do not be afraid to express who you truly are. Do not be afraid to show emotions, to be vulnerable, to show that you care. A lot of people shelter themselves by creating this so-called character armor or false self. They're trying to protect themselves from getting hurt. They fear that their authentic self will be exposed to rejection and ridicule by others. But this armor, while it is protecting us from all these threats, it also protects us from life. It destroys every possibility of us feeling alive, finding our passion and living up to our true self, to our authentic self, to our child self, gets us into a core frequency of our being. We become who we're supposed to become. And when one starts living in alignment with his true nature, everything begins to change. You will achieve things with almost no effort. You will no longer have to chase things. They will come to you naturally as a consequence of you being who you truly are and following your passion. You will flow through life. Now, this of course doesn't mean that life will be all sunshine and rainbows. You will still face challenges and difficulties, but they will not be as hard. You will see them as a necessary part of your development, and you will use them as a tool for growth. So being authentic means cultivating the child within and being open to experimenting and trying new things without being attached to our personality, to who we think we currently are. So I really hope this video will help some of you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.